All right, hello everybody. My name is John Sadowski. I'm the president of Metro Valley Advertising, and welcome to another edition of the Personal Injury Marketing Newsletter. Today, I'm joined by Deepak Subburam and Lawrence O of Colit AI, which is an AI argument engine for litigators. So, Lawrence, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became a litigator yourself?
Sure. So I am a former prosecutor for most of my career. I was an assistant DA at the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office for about 22 years. That was the first job I got out of law school. I stayed with it. I loved it. I went through many different bureaus and found my passion as an investigative attorney and trial lawyer. And that's how I kind of naturally fell into litigation. I left in 2016 to start my own practice and to work on a law and technology product. I met Deepak sometime probably around when I was leaving the district attorney's office, really as friends. And then we started Colit together in 2024.
Cool. And Deepak, what drew you into the world of AI?
So I've always been doing scientific computing since high school. I was like a nerd, spending a lot of time at the computer lab. And that slowly evolved into AI. At first, I was doing quantitative finance at a hedge fund. So it's like statistical modeling on stock prices. And then AI started picking up. So I taught myself AI and I switched careers and worked for an AI startup that was doing speech recognition. And then when ChatGPT came out, I started working with large language models. And I was speaking with Lawrence, and Lawrence was like, no, this is ideal for case files. And we got together and launched Colit last year.
So you were obviously always involved in technology, so from an early age, so this comes naturally to you. What was the inspiration then? How did this brainchild come to be that we needed this argument engine, and what were the specific problems you guys were looking to solve?
So I first tried my chatbot on technical documentation before I discussed this with Lawrence. And I asked my chatbot how many speakers can connect to my stereo system. And I gave it my stereo systems manual. And he came back and said 5 speakers. I was like, 5? That can't be right. It's supposed to be 4. But then I checked, and then the chatbot picked up that I can attach a subwoofer to my stereo system beyond the 4 speakers. So it's telling me things I don't know about my stereo system. So I felt like, okay, this is fantastic. Anyone doing knowledge work will have use for this. And then I was speaking with Lawrence, and then he experimented it with legal documents, and maybe he can say more.
Yeah. So for me, I'm really an old school lawyer. I'm actually someone who started off my legal career writing motions by hand without really the assistance of a computer. I want to read every case. So I really look at practicing law kind of the old-fashioned way. When Deepak came to me, I decided to put a case of mine into Deepak's AI, and almost immediately I found something in a transcript that I hadn't seen before. And I pride myself on my document review abilities, that I can go through bank records and materials and transcript and reports and find the smoking gun, find things that other lawyers are going to miss, find things that the opposing counsel are going to miss. And almost immediately, the AI found something in a transcript that I thought I had scoured and knew completely. The other thing that was an aha moment for me was when I started experimenting, say, well, what are the full sort of capabilities of AI? I asked Well, look, I liked my questions of this particular witness, and I thought I did pretty well in the examination. And I wondered, at trial, how is the examination of this witness going to be most effective? And what I started doing was asking, well, what other questions could I have asked? And then I asked the AI to propose, recommend, suggest what questions opposing counsel could have asked the witness to rehabilitate the witness, to deflect my questions and answers that the witness gave to my questions. And immediately the AI produced a question that I realized opposing counsel had missed, and was a question that I knew I would have to anticipate and expect at trial. So almost immediately in using AI, I found it discovered something that I had missed and suggested a question in anticipation for trial. So that was, to me, the inspiration for becoming a co-founder with Deepak and building Colit and trying to make this, the best litigation engine using AI.
Fascinating. So how does it work?
So when a user signs up, we provide them a private Google Drive, and they upload their case file there. And the Google Drive is organized with like folders, like one for complaints, one for testimony, one for legal research. And then in one business day, the AI forms a basic understanding of the case by looking at those documents. And we trained it to look for like things that really matter, like what are the claims, what's the timeline, what are the motions. And then when our chatbot is then launched, a lawyer can ask like questions like, please prepare an interrogatory for the plaintiff's employer. And just like that, and you'll know the context. You'll know that, okay, the plaintiff is involved in a discrimination lawsuit because it's in the case file. And then there was this like one incident, that is the problematic proximal cause of the lawsuit. And it will like prepare questions. What are your discrimination policies? What's your employee handbook like? And then who saw that incident? So the AI basically knows the context of the case and will like provide pretty salient output for the lawyer.
So how might a personal injury attorney use Colit AI getting ready for a case?
I think a personal injury attorney could use Colit in two respects. One, for written work product, and number two, in preparing for in-court examinations and arguments. And by in-court, that could mean depositions that are not technically in court, but are pursuant to court procedure. So I think you could have Colit ingest and process your entire case file, and then help you draft interrogatories, help you draft motions, and other types of work product. If you should happen to get to the appellate level of a case, or the appellate process of a case, then the stage of a case, then you could use Colit to help you draft your appellate papers and your brief. And you could use Colit to help you draft the arguments that you want to make in court, in an opening statement, in a closing statement, help you review all the reports, statements, transcripts in devising the types of questions that you want to use in examining your own witness and cross-examining the other side's witnesses. So I would say those are the two general categories.
Interesting. So how is it different from legal research tools like LexisNexis or Westlaw?
Sure. So LexisNexis and Westlaw use keyword searching. First of all, those are legal research databases. So they really just provide you with case law. And the way that they provide you with relevant case law is you provide some search terms, and it will look for those terms within its legal database. Colit differs in two respects, fundamentally differs in two very important respects. Number one, We do have a connected legal database that we are building and developing and adding to. So you can make queries, and we'll provide you with legal cases that are responsive to your queries in a website called Chat Law that is part of Colit. And the way that Colit differs from Lexis and Westlaw is we process your case and help you search and find information in your case, and then build arguments based upon the findings in your case. So your case file consists of what you put into your case, which could be transcripts, police reports, employment records, whatever type of litigation you may have, the full gamut of documents that might comprise a litigator's file. We will ingest that file, help you find things in your file pursuant to your queries, and then help build arguments that you can utilize in your written work product or that you can take to court. The other chief difference between Colit and Lexis and Westlaw is the manner in which we conduct searches within your case file. So because Colit is utilizing AI technology, we are not using strictly keyword search terms. So you provide a query, and we're not necessarily looking for those terms within your case file, and I'll let Deepak explain this a little bit. We're converting your search terms into what are known as embedded vectors, coordinates. And those coordinates, we convert your entire file into embedded vectors. Then we take your question, we convert your question into embedded vectors, and we look for matches. So we look for numerical matches within your case file to the query that you've submitted. I'll let Deepak sort of explain this a little better.
Yes. Basically, the AI is searching through meaning space, not words. It converts your query into a meaning, representing that meaning as a high dimensional vector, and then looks through your case file for pages that match that meaning. And then we look at a certain number of those pages and have the AI read all of that, and then read your question, and then decide on an answer. So it's like two steps. Like on the first step, we find the matching pages, because the case file can be large. We support up to 100,000. In fact, like we have one client with like 250,000 page case file. So a chatbot can read through everything and answer in a timely fashion. So we take your query and then find the pages that kind of like are relevant to the meaning of the query, and then have the AI read all those pages and then respond.
So it's really kind of thinking
different
about intent. It's really about the intent of the question, not the keywords themselves.
Yes. And
Gotcha.
that's the other thing we do, because like we're able to marry the case and the case law. So if you want to write a opposition motion to the motion to dismiss, it will look at your research folder where you can upload cases, or you can look at our legal database, and then it will kind of like match the motion to dismiss with the case law to like fetch the cases that matter, and then insert that in its response. So you can't really do that in Lexis, So he knows your case and he knows the case law, and then like pulls the relevant cases and the relevant arguments.
Interesting. Okay. So what kind of data does Colit analyze, and how do you make sure that it's accurate and relevant?
So mostly it's just the case file. So it's been instructed to only use information in the case file. We have a separate database of like legal cases, New York and federal at the moment, and we are expanding. So that's going to be optional. So you can tap into that as well. So it doesn't like go to the internet or like relies on its own memory of things. It's like explicitly instructed to only use the case file and optionally the legal database that we built.
Gotcha. So if you're a PI attorney, can you use Colit to predict case outcomes, or is it just for structuring arguments?
It will help in a common sense, qualitative way. Like you can ask it like, how strong is the case for the plaintiff? And then you'll like look through the arguments that are already in the case file and the complaint and the incident, and like say, it depends on the credibility of this key witness. If this witness is deemed credible, then that's a strong case. So like reply in language. So it won't like give you like odds. So if you're going to use it to like bet, maybe not. But it's useful like if you're an attorney in the case and it's your client, so you may be biased. Actually, I'm not a practicing lawyer, so I'm not so sure how well you can detach from the case and like think objectively, is this a good case for me or not? And they will help you with that, because it's like it doesn't really know. It doesn't have a a part in the outcome. So
right.
So it'll give you like a third party opinion on how strong a particular argument is, a particular motion is, and the case overall is.
Interesting.
I'll add one more thing.
And yeah, please go on.
While not necessarily predicting case outcomes, a PI attorney could put the facts of a new case that they get into Colit counsel and or run it in chat law in our legal database. And you could locate other cases similar to it and see what the outcomes were in those cases in a way that you couldn't quite do in Lexis or Westlaw, because we're using AI and not just keyword searches. So you could run your fact pattern into our legal database and see what other cases come up like it and see what happened to those cases to get a fair idea of what your case is worth and what your case is likely going to result in.
So it's got the latest data of what these settlement amounts are or jury verdicts are. So it kind of helps also with sort of settlement negotiations, because now I kind of have some parameters as to where similar cases have gone.
I can't say that it has all the latest data in terms of settlement amounts. It really draws from our database of legal cases, rather
published opinions.
Yeah, published opinions rather than specific settlement data. But I would say that if you're asking, could Colit, what can Colit do with respect to, in other words, if you're gonna ask like, can Colit assist personal injury attorneys in terms of settling cases? For certain, it can help them in a number of respects. Number one, it can help them identify where this case is in relation to other cases like it that have resulted in a particular way. It can also help drive higher settlements in two respects by allowing for personal injury attorneys to generate better and faster written work product. As we know, attorneys, in particular PI attorneys, get higher settlements when they file documents and papers and make opposing counsel work. The ability of personal injury attorneys to take on more cases is also increased by saving time using AI in their workflow.
So one of the things I've always, sorry, go Deepak.
Yeah, one way to look at it is it's like an assistant. So it can perform the role of a research assistant. It can perform the role as a writing assistant. And it can perform the role of a reading assistant by reading for things and looking for what you need. So when you ask, can it predict, can it help settlements? So we can help you research cases. That's kind of like what Lawrence was kind of saying. And that will help you figure out how the settlement may go. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, to me, AI, one of its great advantages is it saves time. Any way to quantify what kind of time savings are typical on a case when you use Colit AI?
I'd say it's we haven't been able to quantify exactly how much time you can save. But I would say that all of our customers find it worth it to use Colit. And in speaking with our customers, they all tell us that it helps them save time, it helps them get to the answer faster, and it helps generate better product for them, a written work product. So without being able to quantify exactly how much, certainly enough time savings that it's worth it for them to continue to use Colit and add additional cases.
Gotcha. So I guess what you're saying is that you're hearing back from your clients and they're saying, hey, it's saving them time. What kind of results are they achieving?
They haven't shared with us exactly what the outcomes on their cases are, but we've noticed that that they've added more cases into Colit, and we understand in speaking with them and getting the feedback that we have that they're pleased with the results.
So the more they use it, the more they ramp up.
Yes.
Makes sense. So, on the downside of AI, we've heard about hallucinations, and, I assume that some attorneys may be skeptical about relying on AI for their legal arguments. How do you guys address their concerns, A, about accuracy and B, reliability?
So firstly, we instruct the AI to just use the contents in the case file, which we already talked about. Secondly, what's interesting, what may be important, is like we test our system by asking questions lawyers will want to ask on the case file, and then look at the answers. And then if it gets things wrong, we go and like fix our system, because we can't really rely on the AI vendors. We do use like a major AI vendor in the back end to have done the testing for us, because they aren't testing specifically for what lawyers will be asking. And then, like, for example, like when we were testing, we noticed our AI confused the testimony of a witness in two different occasions. Like the same witness showed up for a grand jury trial, and then for the actual trial. And then our test question was like, what did this witness say, in the grand jury trial? And then the AI picked up what he said in the regular trial. So we realized, oh, that's a mistake. So now, since then, we make sure that we identify what each document and testimony is. So the AI knows, oh, this is like on this date and this kind of testimony, and this is that date and that kind of testimony. So when I ask a question, like, he knows which. So we do all these testing to make sure that it meets a lawyer's expectations for accuracy. And the last thing we do is like we cite every answer. That we have the AI cite the page where it got the answer from, and then we make it just like one click to like click and see the page. So obviously, before you submit actual work product in a court, you want to like check all the sites, and we just make it easy to cite the original source material.
Bit about how you protect attorneys and the privacy of their case so that this does not wind up out in the public domain.
So every customer's account is in a segregated folder in our server, and it's not backed up. And once they close the case, that folder is like deleted. So like all their questions and documents and everything is in just like one location. And then the AI vendor we use, we made sure they aren't using it to like train their models. And their policy is to keep the data for up to 30 days, like the text that goes in and out, just to monitor for like abuse.
Gotcha. Okay. So how do you recommend lawyers approach AI integration if that's something they're considering doing?
My suggestion is they take a case and load 2 documents. Load the complaint and load a transcript or some other report or document that they think is important to the case, and ask a question.
I'm assuming that, Lawrence, you guys will then help them with demos and that sort of thing as well.
Sure, yeah. You can contact us by email for a private appointment. We can schedule a demo, or you can just try a 1-week free trial that we offer. And you can load, like I said, just a couple of documents, and immediately you'll see results, and one question will lead to the next. It's a lot like Google was when Google first came out. People maybe didn't use it immediately, and now Google's entered our vocabulary. If you want an answer to a question, you Google it. And such will be the case for all lawyers. AI will be an essential part of every attorney's practice.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I assume then you see AI like Colit replacing certain legal functions, or is it going to stay as just sort of an enhancement tool?
At the moment, I would say that I think Deepak might have referenced it earlier. We don't look at AI as a tool in the same sense as we use tools with other apps. AI is so sophisticated, and AI is generative of information that we look at AI as being more like an assistant. And at this moment, I can't say that AI is going to replace a particular function or type of work that attorneys do, but certainly it will enhance, improve, make more accurate, and speeden up attorneys' work product.
Cool. So
yeah, what if I may ask John, just like, what's your listeners' proficiency with AI? Like, are they using it already, or are they pretty new to it? So like, we can speak based on their comfort level.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that, I find people that I come in contact with are all over the place. Some of them are early adopters and very, very proficient, and others still sticking their toe in the water, if you will. So
Okay.
yeah. So
I mean, if they are sticking their toe in the water, what I can suggest is like, basically go about what they do as they do it as usual, but then every now and then find an AI tool and then try to get a second opinion or a parallel work product. Okay, so they're writing a motion. Okay, so all right, write a motion like you usually do, but also find an AI tool like Colit and ask you to draft one, and see if it like is showing something that you may use in yours. And
Gotcha.
maybe even before that, there are tools like ChatGPT. And if you encounter something that you're not familiar with, I heard this from like lawyers. Like often they're involved in a litigation in a field that's like a bit adjacent, like that has an element of law which they aren't familiar with. Like maybe there's a bankruptcy issue in your PI case, and you don't really know bankruptcy that well. So you can go to chat law and then ask your bankruptcy question, and then see if it helps you. Like maybe in the past you try to find a bankruptcy colleague to ask. Yeah.
Cool. So what's next for Colit? Upcoming features, developments, things we should know about?
Yes. So this year is going to be the year of AI agents, and we are incorporating the agentic technology and workflow into Colit. So an AI agent will take a longer time to respond to a more sophisticated question. If you ask a question that requires multiple steps, the AI agent will think, make a plan, and run a few AI calls before coming back with an answer. So for example, if you say write a motion opposing the other side's motion to compel discovery. Well, no, our AI right now will just look at the case file and do its best to write an answer. An AI agent will like first read the motion to be opposed in detail, summarize the motion, and then like look at the case file to see what's relevant. And then maybe look at the legal database to find the case law that's relevant. And then look at, okay, you're in New York and your motion needs to look like this. These are the 5 sections that I need to write. And then like call subspecialties to write each section and then put it together. So it's like a multi-step process that will like take like several minutes. And we're gonna incorporate that. And we'll tell the user come back in a few minutes. Meanwhile, you can try other questions, but this tab, just leave it open and come back. So that's what's next for Colit.
Fascinating. Something that would normally take people many hours is done in 3 minutes, and we call that a long time.
Long time for a computer.
Yes, right.
And to be sure, it's
exactly.
going to be a draft. We're going to still
Yeah.
need lawyers, and
Yeah.
and sometimes like the AI is like verbose, and we'll have to talk to our customers to see how much verbosity they want. It may be exhaustive. It may give you like the kitchen sink. Like it may give you like 7 arguments as to why this motion should be opposed, and the lawyer may decide, I just want to take 3. I don't want to bore the judge with everything. Yeah. So definitely, there's going to be a lawyer on the driving seat.
Cool. With all the tools they need to make that decision.
Yes.
Super. Gotcha. Okay.
This is, the next step in a larger vision that we have at Colit of bringing to lawyers, personal injury attorneys to litigators, a full-time AI co-litigator. And by that, I mean, ultimately, our plan is to have an AI assistant that is available to help an attorney, a litigator, with every aspect of litigation, from the very beginning to the end. And that includes being available to work on motions and written product, to generate questions at the office. That full-time AI assistant will follow the litigator, the attorney, into the courtroom, be present in the courtroom with the litigator, will obviously be aware of the entire court record, every transcript, all of the case law, every single report, and will help generate questions live in a courtroom to the attorney on what question that attorney should be asking the witness next, based upon the last answer that the witness gave, based upon every answer that witness gave, based upon every question and answer every witness, every person in that case gave, and every report. So this is our long-term vision, and this year's agentic workflow that Deepak and I are working on is one step in that direction.
Oh, exciting. So how do our viewers learn more and get in contact with you guys for a demo?
So our homepage is www.colit, that's COLIT.ai.
Okay.
And there you'll find links to our calendars to schedule a 30-minute demo. And there are also links to our email addresses if they want to reach out directly.
Super. Okay. And I will then put your email addresses on the closing slate so that anybody who views this can pull them off there. And with that, I want to say thank you, guys. This is fascinating. And I'm not even an attorney.
Thank you for having us, John. It was my pleasure, and Lawrence's too. Lawrence.
Yeah. Our pleasure. Thanks so much, John.
Super. All right, guys. We'll speak again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.